2, 1. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34, and tonight I'm joined by Mr. Nathan Ragland. How you doing, Nathan?
I am doing wonderful. How about yourself, my good sir?
I'm doing good, man. Winding down. Are you in the East Coast, West Coast? Where are you from?
East Coast.
For sure. And yeah, well, even more so, thank you for joining me. I know how late it is out there right now.
It's one of those, I'm used to working a night shift and such, so I'm used to being up at this odd hour anyway. So
yeah, you've been working night shift for a while now, or that's
a year and a half, I would say at this point. So yeah.
Yo, man, I actually just left the job because I was working night shift, and it was starting to take its toll on me. Yeah. It was. I don't know what your hours.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Well, I say night shift. It's actually graveyard shift. So I'm coming in anywhere between 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. and I'm not getting off till like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Damn. Okay, I got you. Yeah, nah. That's rough, man. I think a little more rougher than I am because that's almost 12 hours, and I was my shift was like 10 hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was gonna say the max we get would be like 10 hours, but I mean, at least it's like solid days. Like, cause I work at a warehouse, so it's one of those like we have set hours, we have set days. Sometimes we'll come in on the occasional like Fridays or something like that. But for the most part, like it's not like some jobs where it's a revolving door of days and hours and all this kind of stuff.
For sure, I feel you, and you're still able to balance your podcast, right?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me, give me a glimpse of what your podcast is like for the folks out there?
Absolutely. I am the host of the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I bring on an artist every single week. I just, an artist I personally appreciate the work that they do, and even then some, I've had suggestions from audience members and such before, but basically I just have a conversation with them, have them talk about their passion, their artwork, what got them interested, where they want to do, where they want to go with their kind of stuff, and just let them just gush about their passion more than anything else.
That's what's up, man. And I can see you practiced that story, or saying your story, which I think is an important thing that everybody kind of gets a chance to practice every time they meet someone new. But yeah, that's what's up, man. How long?
I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say more than anything else. Like these artists, a lot of their art like relates to me on a personal level on many different aspects or whatnot. So it's one of those like, if I'm gonna take the time to dedicate, like, now how should I word this? Words are wonderful, aren't they? Basically, like with all these artists, like they do incredible stuff, and I just want to, at least at the end of the day, just give them like like I said, the platform they deserve. Because a lot of times you'll see, like the horror stories of like the art world, being gypped on commissions or being put in these horrible workplace conditions and stuff. I want to give them a chance to showcase the world, even with as little of a platform I have right now. Just showcase them, hey, these people are doing incredible things. That's it.
Yeah. Are you an artist yourself?
I'm more like, it depends on what you define as art, because I am a filmmaker and I consider that an art form as it is. So
that's what's up. Yeah. Anything we can find out there that maybe you've worked on?
I mean, it's mainly just college short films at this point. I'm gonna eventually be getting my way back into it. Right now I put more of my efforts into the podcast, but I do have a YouTube page that has all my short films and such. What was it? Perfect, Shifted. It's just look up Nathan Ragland, Classy Nattery Productions. I'm sure you'll have a link in the description, right? For the fans at home.
Of course, absolutely. But yeah, all right, for sure. That's what's up, man. I mean, for the folks out there, it's the first time we've ever connected, first time talking. So this is all news to me, and it's dope, man. It's great to meet another artist. But I think we all are in some sense, but not everybody embraces it, or they found what their art is. You feel me?
Oh, no, absolutely. It's one of those, we all have a different way of expressing ourselves. And one of the things I try to do with the podcast is try to redefine what art can be, because there's so many different ways for us to like input ourselves in a certain way and express ourselves a million different ways. I mean, I've had animators, I've had people that do thumbnails for big time YouTubers and such. I've had musicians. I've even had a wrestler on the podcast at one point, like, professional wrestling. Her name was Edith Surreal, wonderful person. Absolutely, wonderful to get to chat with her.
That's what's up, man. I'm kind of curious. What do you think the biggest thing you've gotten from doing your podcast and having these conversations with people?
The biggest thing, like, what do you mean by that? Like the biggest guess I've gotten, or like the biggest lesson I've learned? Like what?
So someone kind of framed like my podcast as a way to enrich myself. Like I hadn't thought about it that way, but the fact that we are talking to all these various people, we are getting something out of it as far as our life experience. So what would you say is the biggest thing you've gotten out of, just doing your thing, pretty much?
I think the biggest thing I've at least gotten so far was I've had people who are fans of the podcast tell me straight up that, I've had at least one person straight up tell me that, my podcast is like inspiring them, and seeing all these people and what they got to go through, like, is really getting them into art and such. I mean, that's incredible. I've had, both fans of the podcast and former guests just straight up tell me that they love the fact that, that I'm giving these artists this kind of spotlight. Like it's not big right now. I wish it was bigger, but at the same time, at the end of the day, for me, what I get from it more than anything else is I get an opportunity to just let a person just go about their passion more than anything else. You ever talk with someone and like, especially something that they're absolutely passionate about, and there's just that moment to where they got like that tunnel vision to where all they want to talk about is that thing, but like they're so passionate, they're so elaborate with it that you just don't want them to stop. Whenever I see that with any of the artists that I bring on the podcast, that's my biggest, that's the thing that I get the most from the podcast. Like just seeing that out of the people that I bring on.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Would you say you've always been a conversationalist, and you wanted to do this?
I don't know if I've always wanted to do this. I've wanted to do a podcast for a good couple of years and stuff. When it comes to conversationalist, I was the kind of person that my parents would tell to be quiet a lot of the times. My dad has this funny story of whenever I was like, I want to say 6 years old or something like that. I had read, like, they were shopping or something like that. It was like a Dollar General or like a smaller store or something like that. I had run off and I was holding hands with some random strangers like like they were my parents.
That's hilarious.
So you could say I'm kind of a busybody. I like, interacting with people.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, before we go any further, I do have a couple icebreakers for you. This first one is a one-word spelling bee.
One-word spelling bee. Okay.
One-word spelling bee. And your word is handkerchief.
Handkerchief. Okay. HANDKERCHIEF.
Congratulations. First try. A lot of people missed that D in there, but it didn't.
Really? Okay.
Didn't fool you.
I was thinking about it for a second. I'm like, no, there is, like, because it's a handkerchief, whatever the breakdown of the word is, but still, yeah. No, I'm surprised I got it.
For sure, man. And the next one is a riddle. How are you with riddles?
I think I'm okay with them. If nothing else, once I'm told it once, I will never forget it. So,
have you listened to any of the riddles on this podcast yet?
I haven't really listened much to this podcast, I'll be honest, because I wanted to be in here surprised with this kind of thing. So with the questions you have.
Yeah, no worries. It's better if you haven't heard any of these. But
okay.
This one is, can you name 3 consecutive days without using the days of the week? So you can't say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but you have to name 3 consecutive days.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Now, I'm probably gonna get completely. Wait, 3. Like for me, I'm thinking like naming the specific days themselves, not the days of the week. So something like Thanksgiving Eve, Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday.
I see. That's not quite the answer we're looking for.
Okay, what's the answer, if I may ask?
It is yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Oh, okay, so, that's smart.
Now you could use it with your friends and family.
Duly noted.
Well, thank you for participating.
Of course.
I hope you got a little fun out of that before we start getting serious.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, more than anything else, I'm thankful just had the opportunity, so a little fun wouldn't hurt.
For sure. Well, my first question in the warm-up for you is, what would you like the audience to know about you?
What would I like the audience to know about me? Well, my name is Nathan Ragland, like I said before, host of Postmodern Art Podcast, award-winning filmmaker. I forgot to mention that before. Aspiring voice actor, college dropout. Well, not really dropped out. I just hadn't gone back into it just yet. I'm taking a break, more or less. I'm not born from Georgia, but I was raised in Georgia, so I consider that my hometown more than anything else. Yeah, I feel like I'm an open book, so that's why I feel like I'm ready for whatever you're gonna be throwing at me next.
I got you, man. You had mentioned, I guess leaving college for a little bit. Do you think the path that you're kind of on is gonna require a college degree?
It depends, because with the thing with my night job that I said, with the graveyard shift job, I've considered that always as a job, not as a career. The filmmaking thing is what I feel like would be the better path for me. But with this point, with the podcast as well, I can consider that a path as well. If I stick with the podcast, I wouldn't really need the degree. With the filmmaking, I feel like it would help me out, at least when it comes to connections and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, at this point, with how much I've invested with college and stuff, I have a semester left. I feel like it would be a disappointment on me if I didn't finish up that degree,
Yeah. A semester left. That's very doable.
Just do at least one class at a time for a year and a half or something like that, and or a year maybe, and I should be able to get it.
Is it, if you don't mind me asking, is it a degree that's more so, that goes in line with your dream, or is it a backup plan?
I would say it goes in line with the dream because it's mass media, so TV, film, all that jazz, the over-encompassing bubble that they cover with that. So I feel like that would work best with the dream that I'm trying to hope for, which is to inspire people one way or another, whether it be film, whether it be podcast, just something to where I make an impact.
For sure. My second question for you is, if someone were to pay you a tribute, how would you like to be honored? So if I was going to tell myself today I'm going to do something in the honor of Nathan, what could I do?
For doing something in honor of me, to pay tribute. Honestly, it might not be a one-day thing. I will be honest with you about that one. Paying a tribute to me would be to live your life with the mentality that you want to leave this place better than you entered it, one way or another. I'm not saying you have to go out there and find the cure for cancer, because not everyone can do that. If you can, please do. But whether it be as simple as just being a more open person and someone that would like to that would just like to help a person out at the end of the day. If that's the bare minimum that you could do, that's better than a lot of people. And that's something that I feel like would improve the world more than anything else. So if you're going to pay tribute to me, make sure that you live your life to leave this world better than you entered it.
No doubt. Now we know. And my third question for you is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
I feel confident that I should know myself at least a good 9, 8 out of 10. I'll one of those two. There might be some stuff that, depending on how deep these questions go, I'll be like, oh crap, I didn't realize that. But I feel like I'm fairly comfortable with who I am.
For sure. Do you feel like that it took you a while to get to that kind of place in your mind, or you've always kind of known yourself? And some kids out there, they own themselves. So
I feel like there are several aspects of me that I was already aware of and I was comfortable with, but there's some aspects that I'm still learning. There's always something new to learn, whether it be about yourself, about the world, every single day. So
for sure. What would you say is your favorite thing about your personality?
The fact that I can try to conversate with just about anyone, it's one of those, I enjoy conversation more than anything else. I feel like, a lot of people, they're very shy to open up to a person, to try to get to know a person and such. So I feel like, the fact that I can at least attempt to get a hello out of a person, I feel like that takes me a lot farther than some people. That's what I'm proudest of when it comes to me.
No doubt, man. No doubt. All right. Well, we made it to the main portion of the interview where you begin choosing numbers between 1 and 34. We got 3 levels: easy, medium, hard. Where would you like to start? It's up to you.
Well, honestly, I don't want to go with like a general grid. I just wanted to hop around different numbers, if that's okay with you, or do I have to go with the grid system?
Oh no. I mean, because each number has a different or each level has 34 questions itself. So it's,
okay.
If you want to, it's up to you in that sense. But
okay. I mean,
we could jump around.
Yeah, let's just jump around. Let's make things interesting. I'm gonna make this an interesting podcast for both you and me.
All right, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right. I'll start with a random number. How about that? We'll start from there and go from there.
Go for it.
I'll go with my personal favorite number mainly because it's my birthday, and I'll say 15.
15. All right. This question is, how much of yourself is due to nature versus nurture?
Nature versus nurture. I think it's more nurture than it is nature, to be honest, because it's one of those. I get a lot of my personality when it comes to obviously who raised us more than anything else. I feel like at least when it comes to like my sense of humor and how I should act towards a person or whatnot, it is based on how my dad and how my parents were towards other people and such. And am I as identical to them as possible? No, my dad's a lot more wittier than I am. But I feel like seeing their interactions with people is kind of what helps sort of grow my personality more than anything else, and that's why I feel like I am the way that I am. Nature, like I feel like if I was to, I'm not much of a, like whenever I think nature, I think survival more than anything else. And I am not one to mainly be a survivalist. It's one of those, I can try, like if instinct kicks in, obviously people are going to react differently, but I feel like most of what I know as a person is nurture more than nature.
I gotcha. How would you describe your sense of humor? Because that came up.
No, that's a good question. Honest comedy. I'll put it like that. All right. As in, like, I don't like, we don't need to sugarcoat it or anything like that. Like, if you're just gonna like tell me something stupid or something silly, I'm probably gonna laugh at it because it's honestly silly. It's honestly hilarious. Or like, if like my dad's one of those people to where if he doesn't mess with you, he doesn't like you. And he has got one of the quickest tongues out there when it comes to like messing with a person over silly things. There are certain people at work to like, he'll talk about how short they are, or like, how slow they can be or whatnot, how lazy they can be or whatnot. And like just the way that he goes about that, like with how honest he is with that kind of stuff, I just laugh. Some people might call it dark humor at times. I absolutely love that.
Like the hard truth sometimes, or the
exactly.
Truth. Yeah. No, I'm with it. I'm not a comedy genius by any means, but I did take one class in college that said the reason why things are funny is because they're unexpected or they're the truth. And honestly, anytime I see a joke, it's like, oh yeah, that was either unexpected or that was the truth.
Yeah, honestly, that's a good description. Whatever class that was, I need to take it because that's more than what I got.
I feel it. So you said you were a filmmaker. You've been doing that for a long time now, or is it?
Actually, no. It's one of those. So I grew up in basically. I'll put it bluntly. I grew up in basically bumfuck nowhere, USA. I
didn't know that was a city.
I know, right? No, basically, I grew up in like the high school that I at least went to. It was one of those places where if you were in the FFA, the Future Farmers of America, you were weird, and I was one of the weird ones. We didn't really have a whole lot of like digital media stuff. I think the most that we had was the yearbook class and such, which I was the editor my senior year for, if that says anything. But I knew I wanted to at least do something with like entertainment and all that kind of stuff. So my first thought is, okay, I'm around all this stuff, and I think I know a lot about like sports and stuff. So I'll be like a sports broadcaster, which is fun. It's fine. There's obviously a market for that. So the college that I went to, though, when I was visiting colleges, past whenever I visited colleges and such, the college I went to, there was a club called Film and Video Society that we have there. And I went in there like kind of blind because I thought it was just like, you know, appreciating movies and stuff, which I mean, I appreciate entertainment, but no, like some of the people in there, like it was that, but there were some people in there that were like, hey, we're making films, we need help. Getting that experience on the set in my freshman year of college is what sparked me to like really go forth and like be a filmmaker, because I've always been a creative and artsy person. Like in high school, I took all the art classes that I could. And so like getting that experience whenever I actually got to college and seeing that I could express myself through that way, I had to go forth with that.
For sure. You mentioned entertainment as something which I love entertainment too. I grew up on TV, not so much movies. I thought I was a big movie person until I met other people who are really into movies.
No, same here. Same here.
And I realized, I just like TV. So for the folks out there who may think, you know, entertainment is a waste. Like I know there's people who are like, why do you watch so much TV, or why do you partake? What is entertainment like value to you? Like what do you find valuable about it?
Entertainment is a major thing because for a lot of people, it's a way for them to express themselves, like the people that make entertainment, and for the people that are consuming entertainment, it's a way for them to relate and then in their turn find a way to express themselves a lot. We're seeing a lot now with especially like cartoons and stuff. You know, cartoons have been really around, you know, since the 1920s or 30s with Mickey Mouse and all that kind of stuff. But like when TV was really a mainstay, when every single household had a TV, we're now starting to see a generation that is truly making shows that was inspired to them by other TV shows and such. And you know, people that are on YouTube making stuff that's like based on TV shows or inspired by TV shows. I think that if viewed properly and if expressed properly, like there's so many different ways that entertainment can really help a person truly be themselves more than anything else. You know, like I go online all the time. I'm on Twitter a lot, partially because of the podcast and such. But but like I'm on there and I'm seeing all this like different fan art of like all these different shows and such. And the people that are making that kind of stuff are absolutely amazing and incredible. And I wish I could let every single one of them know that they're perfect with all the art that they're making. Like it's amazing, scary at times, but amazing nevertheless.
No doubt. What would you say is the most slept on show that you enjoyed?
Oh, it's a good question. That is a good question. Well, I mean, okay, I'll go with one that I think was most slept on growing up, and that was because it was the show that like really inspired me, and we kind of talked about it beforehand. Class of 3000. That was the biggest like influence when it comes to me. For those who don't know, it was a show that was created by Andre 3000, and I have a fun little story to go with that. But it was created by Andre 3000 and Thomas Lynch. But it was basically just like what was that one show? It was basically like if the electric company was like animated and like brought to modern times because of like it was a good dynamic with all the kids and all the diversity that they had on there. Andre 3000 did a great job being the teacher on there, Sonny Bridges, and like they would have like a new music video every single week that for every new episode or whatnot, and each one was done in a different style, and like the uniqueness and beauty with all of the different, you know, like animated videos on their own was absolutely incredible and stunning. And I wish it got more love than it did, but it was only like around for 2 seasons. And then it had to stop because someone tried to sue because they, They tried to sue because they thought that Andre 3000 stole their idea. But in reality, it was too vague of a premise that the original people had. But by the time the court case went down, everything, the show was dead and gone, sadly.
Damn, I did not know that was the reason why it got canceled. I thought it was I think it was just because it was slept on. But
I mean, it was probably part of it, but at the same time, like the court case was the one that really cut it. I actually, on my own podcast, I talked to the guy who directed the entirety of the show, Joe Horn, and he was talking about how they were in the middle of season 2 whenever they heard the news about the lawsuit and such, and it just basically it killed it for them. That the stories I heard about some of the development or some of the most interesting things, like the music videos that I talked about, that wasn't intentionally part of at least Joe's vision when it came to the show. He wanted to make it simple and cheaper for everyone, by having like, maybe like, one music video for like a couple weeks or something like that. But no, Andre 3000 is like, nah, I'm gonna make a new song every week, every single week. You guys are gonna like it.
Damn, I did not know. Now I feel like I really gotta watch and pay attention to that process, or at least the songs.
Dude, some of the songs on there are absolutely gorgeous more than anything else. Like they got like a good blend of like, pop, rap, jazz. Like there was a good variety on there. So
for sure, I'm gonna check it out, man. Class of 3000, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Go ahead and throw me another number.
You know what? Let's go. In honor of the legend that has been dropped this past weekend, let's go with number 23.
23. The legend that has been dropped.
The first round, at least. A little sports tidbit for those.
Well, we got some sports fans listening. I know they listening.
There you go. There you go.
But what has been the toughest pill for you to swallow?
Oh, man. Okay, I'm hitting the hard questions now. Okay. The toughest pill for me to swallow. That not everyone is going to like me no matter what I do. That has been tough for me. The toughest pill for me to swallow. Because it's one of those, like, as you can probably tell from our little short conversation alone, like I enjoy like talking to people. I enjoy, I enjoy that connection, that affection with some people. But there's just some people that don't just vibe with me. And that's just how life is going to be, it's actually, no. The toughest pill for me to swallow is that life isn't easy. It's one of those, you can do everything in your power to try to make it as easy as possible, but there's always going to be something that is going to pop up and ruin it one way or another, whether it be, dealing with hard times, struggling with mental issues or personal issues or whatnot, death of family, whatever it may be. That's just how life is going to be. Life is not going to go easy on you. There are times where it might seem easier, to where you might be able to get by better than others, but the good times aren't always going to roll. But at the same time, with life, no matter what, you either got to roll with it or it'll roll over you. So you might as well just do what you can, work with the stuff you're given and build off of that and make it the best life you can.
No doubt. And you kind of had me thinking a little bit about my own life and how that relates to me. I got lost. I'm sorry, but
No, you're perfectly fine. I was gonna say to help kind of connect it a little bit. Trust me, it's something that I more or less had to learn this past year alone. Because like for me, whenever I was in college, I felt like I was riding high more than anything else. I felt like everything was just going up and up and up and up. But there's a point in college to where, for me, I felt like I just hit a wall more than anything else. There are points where like I would go into a school semester or whatnot, just being amped up and excited for everything and ready to go more than anything else, and then it just stopped clicking for me more than anything else. I just shut down more than anything else. And I mean, it's one of those, I let life roll over me at that point. I didn't take charge and try to change my situation to try to make sure I didn't put myself in that kind of situation. Sorry, that was the past year and a half. I mean, this past year, you and I can both agree this past, 365 days has been one of the weirdest and probably one of the worst years for a lot of people to experience. Some of it hits closer than others. What was it? Earlier this year, in fact, I tested positive for COVID, and everyone in my family tested positive for COVID. Some of us were able to get through it easily. One of us didn't make it, and that was my grandfather. And that, it crushed me more than anything else. It crushed me because I saw my dad probably at his most vulnerable at that point. And it was rough. It was rough to see him like that, because he even told me that at that moment he lost his hero whenever my grandpa passed away. But my dad, oddly enough, was the one that told me straight up, hey, it's gonna suck, it's gonna sting, but that's life. You either gotta roll with it or it rolls over you.
Yeah, man. I just want to thank you for opening it up. And I know that's not always easy to talk about.
It's this stuff's never going to be easy to talk about, or it's never going to be something to listen to at times. I apologize to the audience if this is a hard part for you guys to listen to, but at the same time, that's, again, it goes back to my original point. That's life. If I'm gonna if I just shut down right now and just not open up about that stuff and not cope with that stuff more than anything else, then I'm just gonna be a wreck by the end of the day, and I don't need that in my life.
Yeah, no doubt. Is there any lessons or maybe sayings from your grandfather that you remember that shareable? But if not, that's fine too.
I wish I had more. I wish I did. I mean, it's nothing against my grandpa, okay? My grandpa was a great person. He was a wonderful person. What I did learn is I understood where my dad's work ethic came from, and that's where I understood where my work ethic came from. My grandfather worked years on end at a factory, to make sure that his family was fed more than anything else. I mean, it was just, him, my grandma, and my dad. But still, he had to basically putting his body through that tear more than anything else. He was in at least 2 catastrophic attacks or wrecks or something like that. There was at one point to where they had to put a rod in his leg, but he still, after dealing with that, he still got up and he still went to work for 50, 60, 70 years or something like that. He didn't even finish high school and he was already working just to make sure that he could support himself and support stuff like that. He never really missed any days or whatnot, and he was always one to if my family needed, or if my dad or my grandma needed anything, he made sure to put them before himself. That's something that my dad has definitely carried on with a day-to-day life, and that's something that I try to carry on as well with my work.
For sure. It makes me think sometimes about how I'm not saying we're not hard workers, but the fact that it was a different time. There was different priorities. There was different struggles. That I know the older generations call our generation soft, and we can't.
It's they call us the soft generation, but it's where do you think we were from? Because it's how I will say this, when it comes to the 50s and stuff like that, how much did the government give to the people? How many the houses or whatnot, especially with the living wages then or whatnot. There was a lot that the government gave them that then they turned to us and be come on, why are you giving all this? Why are you mooching off the government? You guys mooched off of it first.
Yeah. You're it almost comes down in a line, because there was.
It's almost we learned it from somewhere. We learned it from our elders, the ones that are criticizing us. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I digress.
I feel it, man. I'm just curious, but I'm 31. Are you okay? Are you close to my age, or are you a little bit further away?
I'm a little younger. I'm about 25.
25. Okay, for sure. Not too bad. You're in the middle, because I had just had a 21-year-old on the show, and I was asking them about what they thought the differences were between 10-year gap between me and them. How about for yourself? You're kind of in the middle, so I feel you can kind of relate a little bit to the 21-year-old and also to the 31-year-old. How do you feel about being in the middle?
I don't know. Trust me, it's one of those. It's weird for me to be in this position more than anything else, because I feel I've gained so much with us being in the internet age or whatnot, but there's still so much that I don't know or whatnot. And there's still so much that I can only imagine the 31-year-old has to deal with and such, especially these days, that I'm kind of lucky that I don't have to deal with yet, but I know it's slowly creeping up, when it comes to certain I'll say certain bills or certain responsibilities and such. But I'm not the 21-year-old to where especially nowadays, to where they're just entering this world more or less. A lot of these younger ones, they're really getting their first taste, and boy does it suck to have the first taste be what it's been for the past couple years alone. It's rough on them. It was rough on me, and it's rough on everyone as a whole. So it's one of those I feel especially with these days, the two eras more than anything else, the 10-year difference or whatnot. It's an interesting time to be in, at least for me, because I feel I'm getting the best of both perspectives, or the worst of both perspectives, one way or another.
I got you. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna throw you a curveball right now.
Oh, okay.
It's a fill in the blank.
Okay.
So, yours is social media is blank.
Toxic. It's toxic.
Toxic.
Yes, which is sad for me to say because I use social media a lot to. Actually, here's the correct answer. Social media is a double-edged sword. That is the best way I can describe it at this point, because like on one hand, there's so many incredible people doing incredible things and showcasing themselves to where if you were to ask someone 10, 15, 20 years ago, they wouldn't have that opportunity to really showcase themselves, and it would be like a rare like spark for them to truly get that opportunity to show who they are. On the other hand, now that everyone has the opportunity to express themselves, some people don't know when to shut the fuck up. Like, just bluntly, like people are allowed to really like express themselves in the worst way possible, and they think they can get away with it because there's the LED screen in front of them that's like protecting them. There's that barrier more or less, instead of like actually being in person. And like if I was to tell you something horrible or whatnot, you could punch me right in my face. If I was to tell you something online, you'll know where the fuck I am, you know? Like it's one of those, if put in the right hands, it could be used for good, but more often than not, we're seeing a good bit of examples of it not being used for good, and those people get in the spotlight more than anything else.
Do you feel any struggle? Because obviously running a podcast, you have to kind of be active on social media. I don't know how active you are. I try to stay away. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep my sanity without feeling like I'm counting the numbers or, trying to follow engagement and all these things. So how do you do it?
I do it more or less for fun. It's one of those, like, I try to do it for fun at the end of the day. It's because at the end of the day, like for me at least, it's part of the job of having a podcast or whatnot, because one of those, like, I have to find a way to try to promote myself as best as possible. I mainly use Twitter because I find I am more comfortable with Twitter more than anything else. I do have an Instagram, but I barely use it, but I'm starting to get to use it because I know there's a lot of especially art on Instagram, and I want that kind of, people to understand that hopefully, like, I'm trying to make them part of the audience because they're the ones that are hopefully inspired by some of the people I bring on. That's just the hope at the end of the day. But when it comes to social media, more or less, I just try to have some I'm not as active as some people can be. I don't tweet every like 20 seconds or something like that. But at the same time, like I'm on there, I'm at least on like Twitter daily, that's the most I am. I don't post, daily, but I'm on there daily.
For sure. How do you? I'm just curious. Are you on TikTok at all?
I am not. I get it. I understand the appeal. I just don't think it'd be something for me.
See, that's you leaning towards the 31-year-old side.
Exactly.
Exactly. But the fact that you're on Twitter, that's more the 21-year-old side, and I can see that, man. Because for me, I feel so trapped sometimes, and I'm big on Instagram because that's what they say. The millennials are all on Instagram, and the next generation's all on TikTok. So that's.
I was gonna say I feel like I feel like as Twitter, I'm part of the in between. It's one of those like the 21-year-olds or whatnot. They're not using most of the social media platforms. Most are using is probably like Facebook and stuff. But I feel like the Gen Z or whatever they're called at this point, like they're the ones using they're the one using TikTok, or I believe there's a lot more. In my opinion, I think there's a lot more younger people using Instagram. I could be very wrong with that. I'm probably very wrong, and I will admit being wrong if I am. But I feel like Twitter is this place where there's just a hodgepodge of random people and a bunch of corporations trying to do their best to get in on the money bank that is there, that is people's attention. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't figured out the swing of Twitter yet. I'm trying to. I think like for me, what my plan is just to upload. I think it's 2-minute clips because that's as far as you can go on Twitter. But it's been
I wouldn't even go that far. For me, what I usually do, and I'll say in my defense, I don't have a huge following. I have at least 100-something followers on Twitter. But what I usually hype up the podcast is I find like one part that I particularly love like at least one or two like different funny moments or something like that. I try to find one, just have that up there as is, like maybe with like a little lead in, and then have like a little information at the end of it, letting you know, hey, the podcast is coming on this day with this guest, da 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 da. Like just something that will grab the attention super quick. It's usually like a minute long or something like that, you know?
Okay. I appreciate the advice, because I've been super trying to figure that out. I don't know for you, but for me, like I have it on YouTube, but then if I put it on Instagram, like it's something I hate to do, but because, you know, we're following the dream, I have to do it, and it's changed everything to portrait mode, and and like that's all post editing and stuff, but that's the rule that Google gave me, was like, if you're going to do it, you better do it portrait mode, because you can't count on people turning it sideways to watch your shit.
Yeah that's something that I'm not surprised with as well. If nothing else, like try to find a way to get in the little square that's usually there, because most people are usually comfortable with seeing that little bit, maybe seeing the little bit of description, then moving on, because that's the Instagram standard or whatnot. You know, because I mean, people want to see as much in that limited amount of space as possible, so it's like if you have that, you have most of your bulk right there. I was also gonna say, what was it? I know for me, so I have it also on YouTube, but I have it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know, all sorts of different platforms and such. That's part of the reason why I use all these different social media platforms to try to get the word out there, because there's so many ways for people to consume it, and the more the merrier, you know?
How about Twitch?
So I'm part of a podcast network, and the podcast network has a Twitch. I need to figure out what I want to do if I was to do a live streaming platform like that.
I gotcha. I looked into it, and it said I had to do a certain amount. There's like certain amount of numbers you got to reach before you can actually upload episodes. Like, you know,
really?
if I wasn't gonna go live, yeah, it was like,
okay,
yeah, you got to stream.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Stream 8 hours, have at least three different viewers every time you stream, something like that. But
so I want to sort of lead you in a certain direction. I'm gonna tell you right now, Twitch is probably not the end all be all when it comes to live streaming, as it makes itself out to be. Because the issue with Twitch, I listened to a podcast that featured a guy by the name of Devin Nash, who like analyzes all these different analytics and such when it comes to, you know, YouTube, Twitch, If you want to go into live streaming, I would look into YouTube first, because YouTube's algorithm is a lot better when it comes to discovery. When it comes to Twitch, unless you know exactly what you want to look for, you're not going to find it instantly. You're going to have to scroll all the way down, whatever, you know, category you're trying to look for, before you find the little people that don't really know. Meanwhile, if you start off on YouTube, either streaming through there or just uploading through there, then promoting yourself to the Twitch or whatnot, that will get you the guaranteed audience more than anything else, because YouTube has a lot better algorithm to where you can just type in a random search term, set it up to new, and you can get, or like not even set up to new, but like you can, like if I was to do like a gaming video or something like that, I could search up like Modern Warfare, click on like the live feed or whatnot. I could scroll down, I could have a 10,000 view, you know, watch next to 100 view watch or something like that.
I gotcha. Well, thank you for that insight, because I was about to spend a whole lot of time trying to figure it out on Twitch, but I think YouTube I'm more comfortable with. I think a lot of people are, especially, you know. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's part of the thing with YouTube. It's one of those like people are a lot more comfortable with, because they've got a lot more people. They make the interface a lot more easier for people to comprehend, so they can get the new people in and just instantly upload. Try to get the newer people that don't use YouTube in to make stuff, or to just use it in the first place. That's Twitch's biggest problem right now. It's one of those, they know that there's an audience for like certain gaming stuff. Like people are going to watch Ninja stream because they want to watch Ninja, all right? But there are the people that may not know Ninja that Twitch wants. They want those people that don't know Ninja to come in and watch Ninja, you know?
Yeah. For sure, man. Well, I mean, thank you for dropping some knowledge on me. It's definitely going to be useful.
Any way I can help.
For sure. Go ahead and throw me another number, man.
You know what? Let's go with just off the top of my head, let's go with number 5.
Number 5. What artist, song, or album has inspired you?
You're asking the person with the art podcast what art inspires them. You are a wonderful person.
Easy question.
Okay.
Easy question.
Yeah, I know, right? Artists, number one off the top of my head, Left at London, especially right now. They are the ones that have like truly inspired me. Have you heard of this artist before? Have you heard of this musician before?
You said Left at London?
Left at London.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so first off, this was the person that started off as a Vine star. I'm not going to name the Vine star because they have since transitioned into a woman. Like that's something that, you know, a whole entire different issue with them. But she has transitioned, and she's been making music for years now, like a good couple of years. That's like her true passion or whatnot. I fell in love with her art, with her music, because this will lead to someone else that also inspired me, but they did a parody video saying, this person like making, basically making music in the style of Tyler the Creator. That's another big one for me, and I will definitely go more in depth with that in a second. But like, that's how I first discovered her, and like the music that she's creating right now. Oh my God. It's indie pop, and like that's something I never like was invested in the first place beforehand. That's something I didn't even know about, but like I invested myself deep with that, and like the music that especially she's making, absolutely amazing. Safety First is probably one of my favorite songs from her EP Transgender Street Legend Volume 2. Not this past Friday, June 4th, she just released her debut album, and that album from like front to back is a can't skip, like amazing album more than anything else, because it's like it plays with what indie pop can be, like the different beats and the different kind of stuff. Like it's incredible, like with some of the stuff that they sampled, but at the same time, like more than anything else, more than on top of that is the message more than anything else about like struggle with like mental health, with relationships, all this kind of stuff, because that's something that she has personally struggled with a lot. And like I have said this on Twitter before, this album alone has some of the most raw songwriting out there that anyone has ever made. Like with the way that she has basically taken her heart and presented it to everyone with everything that she has struggled with more than anything else. Is for those that want to try to find this album, TIAPFYH, which stands for There's a Place for You Here, but it's literally that little acronym on there.
I'm trying to take notes on this right now. There's a place for you here.
But like if you're gonna find the album, it's literally TIAPFYH. It's an acronym or whatnot, mainly because there's another song on the album called This Is a Protest for Your Heart. So it's like it uses the same thing or whatnot.
Gotcha.
I personally love It Could Be Better, partially because it uses this. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that, but like just the beat alone is absolutely great, especially whenever there comes a point to where there's like a music drop or whatnot, and that music drop is one of the hardest I've listened to, and then like it transitions out of that in the most like amazing and like surreal way possible. Kudzu's a great song. Pills and Good Advice, the song that starts it off, is a 10-minute musical journey that flows through like 3 or 5 different styles, and it is a journey worth going on. The Ballad of Marion Zayanchek, which is the second song on there, I'm surprised she went with such a depressing song for the second track, but it fucking hits hard when you know the backstory. It is
This is a certified classic, man. The way you selling this is a certified classic.
It should be a certified classic. She, like, the way that she goes about just basically doing her own thing and being as honest, as open as she has, that is something that inspires me. Another artist that I obviously mentioned, Tyler the Creator. That is a major one for me. Just kind of his entire career, like just making the music that he wants to make, and like especially whenever he's inspired by something. He doesn't really have a schedule, more or less. Like he might do an album like here in every couple years, like about the same time, but like he's not going to bend to the wheels of the industry or anything like that. He's going to make the music that he wants to make more than anything else. He wants to make an album about, how growing up sucks. He did that with Goblin. He wants to make an album about basically his relationship with a guy who's actually in love with a different woman. He made that. He wants to make the album for the Grinch animated film that came out in 2018. Fuck it. He did that. He wants to make a Adult Swim TV show with his friends. Fuck it, he did that.
You gotta respect it for sure as an artist. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like he alone is probably like the biggest one, and he's also my number one dream guest. If I can get an artist on my podcast, that's the number one that I want to just talk to more than anything else. Number two, and this is the last person I'll talk about, number two is gonna be Vivian Medrano. Does that name ring a bell to you?
It doesn't. Enlighten me. Enlighten me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Has Been Hotel?
Has Been Hotel.
Has Been Hotel.
No, I'm feeling pretty stupid right now. Tell me more. Tell me more.
You do not need to feel ashamed. Basically, it was a animated pilot that was like years in the making. I want to say at least like 8 to 10 years or something like that. Vivian, who like has been trying to like make this thing a reality for years on end, and like did like a little animation stuff here and there. Finally got the chance in late 2019 to like. In like 2018, 2019 to like make it a reality, like get an actual like group together, like independently, and like just present this out there to the world. And it got, I think it currently has close to 70 million views on YouTube. And that's just the pilot alone. She has since gone on to make a little mini spin-off series because, well, I'll get to that in a second. Make a little spin-off series with Brandon Rogers of YouTube fame as the lead role, and he's been killing it as the voice of Blitz. And on top of that, the original pilot, Has Been Hotel, yeah, she made a deal with A24 so that they're going to be developing that and trying to bring that to TVs or streaming service sometime soon. So seeing more or less her story and how she's basically taken something that is pure and what she's always wanted to make and develop it into this thing almost completely independently is something that I inspired and something I'd love to see and something I'd love to do at some point with other people's projects, as in like give them a way to like help them make the thing that they want to make, because that's the thing that they love. It's something that they've invested in, something that they've rooted themselves in. So yeah.
Damn. All right, man. I'm definitely gonna check out Has Been Hotel.
It's spelled HAZBIN. HAZBIN.
Oh, nice. I like that even more.
For those that don't know, and this might actually help you out a little bit as well, it's basically about the Princess of Hell wants to create a place to where demons can rehabilitate themselves, so that every year when there's basically the purge that they have, where angels come down to hell and kill just about everyone in sight, they have a chance to basically rehabilitate themselves and get themselves away from hell, more or less. She can't do it alone. She needs a little bit of help. It's got comedy, it's got music, it's got all sorts of just gorgeous looking stuff more than anything else. It's a trip. It's an experience.
I'm looking it up right after this conversation, man. I'm just super curious now, and
no, good. I'm glad you are.
Even that plot, man. That plot definitely has my imagination kind of like, how's this looking? How's this gonna be like? So yeah, most definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Just a heads up, man. We made it to the concluding portion of the podcast. Time kind of flew by.
We really ran through it. Wow, I thought we were gonna get to more questions.
I know, man. I mean, that just means. Oh, go ahead.
You should have told me to shut up a little sooner so we can get to more questions. I'm joking.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I was gonna say, similar to how you like your guests to rant on about their passions, man. I mean, for me, I guess passion is one of them, but I just like people talking about themselves. You know, I like knowing people's stories, and I'm sure you can relate. Like, there's a reason why we're both doing podcasts. So
exactly. So can I ask you a quick question more than anything else?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Why did you want to start this podcast in the first place?
Ooh, man. A lot of things in my life kind of just brought me to this place where I felt confident enough and also had a clear idea of what I wanted to create. Like, as a, you know, I consider myself an artist. I think I like to be creative as well. And I've been trying to find a way to bring other people into it and to be a part of it, right? And I first wanted to be a rapper. Didn't work out. It became too much of my ego. I tried to start a clothing brand with a message. Also became too much of part of my ego. But this podcast, man, the more I do it, it doesn't make me feel like it's about me, you know, and it makes me feel comfortable that I'm really doing it for other people, or other people are able to express themselves. And my previous guest right before this was telling me how, for some reason, especially talking to maybe a stranger or someone that you haven't reconnected with in a while, you feel like you got space to talk, and it doesn't feel like, you know, you're trying to impress anyone. Because I mean, I don't know if you got that vibe from me, man, but you know, I'm pretty accepting of most people. You have to really be doing something horrible for me to be like, oh, I don't want to like get to know you. You feel me? But
oh no, trust me. I think you and I sort of relate on that same level. It's one of those, like, you at least want to give people a chance to like really just express themselves and like truly be themselves, get to know them more than anything else. And this podcast, at least for you, is like the best outlet for you to really get to like know a person. You know, like, let them just be them. That's why I do my podcast, because it's one of those, like, yeah, I can have a podcast where I sit down for an hour and talk about the different kinds of art that I like, but that, you know, that'd be like just me posting it on Twitter and Instagram or something like that. I can say that I like certain things, but if I actually bring the artists in and let them just go about like what got them to that point where they want to make the thing that they like as much, if not more than me, you know, like it's a better connection than just me saying, oh yeah, I like this is awesome, this is beautiful.
Yeah, and not saying like, you know, if that's how people express themselves, that's how people express themselves, right? But I think we're both looking for something a little more deeper.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then I don't know about you, man, but I've grown really tired of small talk in my life.
I don't blame you.
It's because I've had it so
you,
much. Yeah. So, and you know, you were talking about, you know, being like this your entire life, and kind of like kind of embracing. I think it was when you were talking about how well you knew yourself and your greatest strength. For me, there was a time where I was at a party. I asked somebody a question that they were uncomfortable with, and that kind of like that experience made me tell myself, maybe I shouldn't be talking like this. Maybe I shouldn't be asking these questions. So I had I stopped for a long time until I came to the realization that like maybe it was just that person, and I should have, like, you know, shouldn't have been so closed off. But I think I'm working on that now, and I'm finding people like yourself and other guests that who do like to talk about these things, and it's been great, because it kind of made me feel like there was something wrong. You know, I guess everyone kind of feels that way about themselves at some point, like, is there something wrong with me? But now I'm, you know, you finding your people, finding your tribe. So yeah. That's where I'm at.
I mean, it's one of those, I think your podcast probably illustrates this a lot better. Yeah, illustrates this a good bit. Everyone has their own experience with how they deal with that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like, a person should know themselves a lot better more than anything else. And asking the questions that you do ask really makes a person realize just how well they would know themselves more than anything else.
Sometimes, man. Like, because I don't know if everyone thinks the same way. I don't think they do. So yeah, some folks definitely come on and are like, I learned something new about myself. And that if I was gonna I'll tell you this about right now, and I'll tell all the folks listening, this is not a plug, but this is just an opportunity that I think every creator should know about. You heard about the Passion Grant Fund, or the
Passion Grant? I have not. No. Go on, elaborate.
It's a contest on Linktr.ee, but I don't think you have to have a Linktr.ee. I'm not sure, but yeah, you got 60 seconds to make a pitch about what you're passionate about, and they're giving multiple prizes they're slicing up the grant to 6 $20,000 winners. I think 6 $10,000, and then a bunch of 5,000. But yeah, deadline is July 7th. So, you know, I don't know about you, man, but, you know, I'm gonna try to shoot my shot 60 seconds to kind of just splurge about, you know, what you're passionate about, which I think,
you know what, I do want to say, I'm glad you used that term, shoot your shot, because whenever I started this podcast, I know we didn't really get into this thing, but that was the biggest thing I've learned since making this podcast more than anything else that I have. At the end of the day, shoot your shot, because you'd be surprised the answer that you'll get a lot of times. I shot my shot whenever I was first making this podcast. I made a list of just different artists that I wanted to have on the podcast, and I was surprised with how many people responded. The one of the first ones to respond was an artist by the name of Super D, who is an amazing cartoonist, and has actually done stuff for like Toe Jam and Earl, like the classic video game. Like if you've seen some of the promotional art more recently when it comes to their most recent game, Back in the Groove, that's him doing that kind of stuff. So like he was one of the first people to like respond to me. And like, you know, whenever I ask like certain artists, whenever I asked Joe Horn, the guy who did the director of Class 3000, if he wanted to be on the podcast, I shot my shot. I didn't expect a response, but you know what? I got a response and then some. Whenever I shot my shot with the, whenever I wanted to be part of the podcast network that I'm currently a part of, I shot my shot. Next, you know, I'm part of the Apocalypse Podcast Network. It's incredible.
Yeah, man.
You never know, and this is for anything in life. You never truly know what's going to happen until you shoot your shot. You just got to go for it. The worst that at least when it comes to like what we're doing or whatnot, the worst anyone can say is no. That, you know, they'll go with someone else or they just won't do it in the first place.
Yeah, and if they went further than a no, then I don't know. That's not on you. That's on them.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, that's dope. And like, I wish you best on your journey. Like, I know you're just beginning, and I don't think like. It really sounds like you're going to be filmmaking more than podcasting eventually. So
maybe
both.
Hopefully both. But I'm going to say this: if the podcast continues to grow more and more, and more people get to love and aspire this, and there's a way to where this can actually make money, because right now, if there's a way for this to eventually make money someday, I might just stick with the podcast, because I'm having the most fun right now doing this podcast more than anything else. Because one of the things I realized when it came to making this podcast, like making these episodes, it's not about how many people are going to watch. It's not about how many, impressions that you make online and such. At the end of the day, when it comes to this, and this is for any content creator out there, all right? At the end of the day, you need to make the content that you're going to love at the end of the day. Because if you're just going to be posting something up just to post something up, like just for something to be out there and hopefully get an impression or something like that, you're not making the content for you. If you're not satisfied, if you're not willing to go back to your own content and watch it, you're making the wrong kind of content. That straight up. I go back and listen to my episodes all the time. I've already got favorites and least favorites out of the people that I've interviewed. Not saying that there's a absolutely no one has been horrible on the podcast, I will say. Every single episode has something that you can easily take away from it. And I've enjoyed every single experience that I've gotten to have. Because at the end of the day, that cannot be taken away from me, no matter what. There's no... again, I got to talk with the Hasman Hotel thing. I got to talk to several people, and I'm still talking to people that were part of that creation process then and now with what they're doing. I got to talk to Left at London, the person that I gushed so much about. Yeah, she was my third episode. I got to talk to her. Yeah, straight up. That was something that blew my mind. I never thought I'd get a chance to do that. Again, I talked to the guy that basically helped develop my childhood with Joe Horn. You can't take that away. That is something that you I correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you've had some conversations that even you've gone back and you've just been wow, did I really just have this kind of conversation with this person? It's incredible. That's something that at the end of the day you cannot take back, and that is something that you're going to love and cherish every single time that you watch it. So for any content creator, if you do not enjoy your content, you need to fix your content.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I hope everyone's listening out there. But yeah, you gotta love what you making. I can't imagine somebody. I mean, I feel like unfortunately a lot of people are doing stuff that they aren't passionate about, and they're just kind of stuck in that cycle. But yeah, I think people are. I don't know, man. I just hope people can listen to the stuff we're making, listen to your guests, and feel inspired to do it, right? Just to Because at the end of the day, you're not going to know what you love. You're not going to know what's out there until you just fucking do it. I know Nike freaking copyrighted that whole entire crap and made that whole entire marketing scheme, but it's the absolute truth. Just do it, guys. Seriously. Yeah, man, for real. Well, before you go, man, we do got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
I'm not in a rush, don't worry.
All right. Well, before we go into the concluding questions, I've been working on creating like a mantra for the show or something, but it's going to be individualized for each person. So for every guest, I've been having them finish this phrase: I am blank, I can blank, I will blank. I am, I can, I will. So for you, how would you fill in those blanks?
I am enjoying myself right now. What's the second one? Sorry. It's I am,
I can, I
will, and I will. Okay.
I will, yeah.
I am enjoying my life right now. I can keep doing what I'm doing in one way or another, and I will keep doing what I'm doing to love every single day that I have.
For sure, man. Now you'll have this to listen back to if you ever need a reminder or a little pep talk for yourself. You got yourself right there.
There you go.
And then this next question is from my previous guest.
Okay.
Shout out to Rasim, and it's an interesting one. But how would you raise yourself if you were, a parent raising you? What would you do, or do anything different? Do something similar? How would you raise yourself?
You know what? I would say that I would raise myself the same way that I was raised, but not as intense in a way. Like, 'cause I was raised to have like a good ethic. I was raised to, I was like a good work ethic, and like there was nothing wrong with how I was raised. I'll put it like that. My dad did a great job. My stepmom did a great job. My mom did a great job. Like everyone that was involved with raising me, they did a great job. For me, I feel like there are times to where I don't know how to word this. There are times where I feel like I struggle with certain things, and having the way that I was raised may have, I don't know how well that helped or hurt. I'll put it like that. So I feel like I would be a little bit more lenient on myself. I feel like I would be. That's at the end of the day. Like I would still try to be somewhat strict, because obviously I would not have the discipline that I do have for other people that I know and such if I didn't have the discipline that I had. But I feel like, like I said, I feel like it would be just about the same, just a little easier on me at times.
I got you, man. My next question for you is, what would you like to ask the next guest that comes on to 34 questions?
Can it be a two-parter question?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Then if that's the case, what is their biggest passion, and what's the best way for them to express that passion?
Gotcha.
Did you get that? Okay.
What is your biggest passion, and
what is your biggest passion, and what is the best way for you to express that passion?
What is the best way to express that passion? Gotcha. I'm just typing it out.
No, trust me, you're gonna need that for whatever guest you have on next.
No doubt. And my last question for you, man, the question that ties everything together, is 500 years from now, your ancestors are watching this video. What would you like to say to them?
I want them to know that no matter what they're going through, you can be going through the highest of highs or lowest of lows. I want you to know, first off, that the people that influence your ancestors and such are some of the most amazing people that they've ever lived with, or that they've ever gotten to know. I would not be the person that I would be without my dad, and he wouldn't be the person he would be without his grandfather. So always remember your ancestors. Like, if you're wondering how good or how bad of a person you are, just look back. Hopefully it's mainly good. I'm hoping it's good. But more than anything else, just understand that no matter what happens with your life, no matter how easy or how rough it can be, just remember what I said earlier on in this podcast. Always remember that life is never going to be truly 100% easy, but you can't let life get to you. When it comes to life, you either got to roll with it or it rolls over you. And I know if you're at least half the person that I am, or whatnot, you're gonna do a good job rolling with it. I have confidence in you. I have faith in you because I feel like I should, and more than anything else. I feel like more than anything else that you guys, however far it is in the future, 500 years, like he said, you would have learned a lot from history. You have learned from history, and hopefully you will be making better decisions than what some of my ancestors have made, some of your ancestors may have made, to where you guys are living the best life. More than anything else, at the end of the day, live your best life. Find your way to live the best life possible, because it's the only one that you're going to have. You can't let it go to waste. You can't just let it roll over you. You got to roll with it, and you got to make it fun while you're rolling.
For sure, man. Any last things you want to add, or where people can find your stuff? I guess you mentioned it in the beginning. You'll find it in the description, y'all. But anything?
I mean, I'll still give the general plug because I have fun doing this.
Go for it.
So like I said, I'm the host of the Postmodern Art Podcast. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, most podcast platforms. I don't know where I'm not. I'll put it like that. New episodes every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Different artists. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at PostmodArtPod for future updates and guest announcements. And also, if you enjoy my podcast, if you give it a chance to listen to, usually in the link in the videos, I will give a link to my podcast network, the Apocalypse Podcast Network. There are some incredible podcasts in that network that I would say is infinitely better than mine. Okay, like straight up. My personal favorite one, and this is one I think you might want to take note of, because it's a good podcast. It's called Stranger Than Christian. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't. Stranger Than Christian?
Yeah. Yes, it's not a religious podcast. That's the first thing I gotta say. The guy's name is Christian. That's why it's called Stranger Than Christian. But basically, every single week, he brings on a different stranger and just has a conversation with them for at least an hour. That is really it. There's an online form that he has where you fill out your name, what you do, 5 quick facts or whatnot, and he just brings on a different guest every week and just talks with them for at least an hour. Like next to no conversation whatsoever beforehand. That is my personal favorite podcast. I will live and die off of that podcast because that is one that I cannot get enough of. There's also, Hot Goss with Trash Comedy, Apocalypse Now, Robots versus Dinosaurs, Whispering Hunties, The Spark Parade, The Honey Leave It Show. There's a good bit of podcasts that you should listen to from, whether it be mine and whether it be Christian. Just go to words are wonderful. Go to apocalypsepodcastnetwork.com to find all your favorite podcasts there. Also, last little plug. I have a merch shop. You can get this wonderful thing there. This is my Mr. Moneybags. He's the one that's going to fund all your dream projects. I just recently posted merch for Pride Month. Like, there's a lot where the symbol is different colorways, whether it be the LGBTQ plus, trans, bisexual, all sorts of different pride things. We also have a couple of designs, both from my co-producer Tipsy J Hearts and some incredible artists like Artsy Grandpa and My Emerald Tears. All the profits that I make off of it, not all the profits that are going back to the artists, all the profits that I make on it are going to charities, either Lambda Literary, which is supporting LGBTQ plus writers, or to the Trans Lifeline. Go to pmap.creator-spring.com. Purchase some of the merch there. Support these charities, because again, I am not making a single cent off of any of that merch, okay? And they are not going away after Pride Month is done and over with. Like, they're going to stay up on the shop, and they're going to be there to support those charities. So do your part. I mean, hopefully you guys at least like the podcast before you decide to do that. But still, go support. Go support these people more than anything else. Go support your artists more than anything else.
For sure, man. For sure. Give me a second.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Everybody out there, make sure to check out Nathan. Check out the Postmodern podcast?
Postmodern Art Podcast.
Postmodern Art Podcast. Sorry for that.
Hey, no, trust me. It wouldn't be the first time someone botched it.
Gotta get it right. There
you go.
For all the folks out there, thank you for tuning in. Whether on the streaming sites or on YouTube, definitely appreciate your time as well. Remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love. And we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions.
Hasta luego, mi amigos.